Okay, thank you very much for inviting me here today. What I want to do today is as much good as I possibly can. So stay with me, make notes if you want, do relax. If you have any questions, then please engage me. There's a chat function. You can put your questions in the chat, or you can contact me afterwards. Okay, just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Ted. I'm the owner of Total Health Chiropractic, and I wrote a book a few years ago called Posture Matters when I realized how many people in Singapore were succumbing to poor posture, and then all the problems that result from that. Just so you know, we have 5 clinics in Singapore, 2 in the CBD, 1 in Tampines, Topayo, and Clementi. So, obviously, as I'm a chiropractor, we're going to start off by putting you all in good posture. So I want you to know what good posture looks like. So with that said, first of all, I want you to put your hand on your breastbone right there and lift it up. There you go. I can see you doing it. When you lift your breastbone up, your sternum, your head can come back on your shoulders. Now you've got a slight arch on your back, which is good. You can engage your abs, open your shoulders, and you are in good shape. Okay, now that is your default. I know we all work at a computer for long, long hours, so that's your default. That's what I want you to keep correcting yourself back to. Okay, we are now in a very strange world, and we're all very, very aware of what's been going on. But I'm very optimistic, and I'm looking forward to life after COVID, even though it's not really going to go away. My purpose today is that we have a greater understanding of the fact that it takes 2 to tango. There is a virus and there is a host. We are the host. If the host is not conducive to the virus, you won't catch it. It will not take hold in your body. So really, we are all part of the solution. If we are healthy and we have a strong immune system, then we are definitely part of the solution, because it's not going to put us in the ICU. But if we do allow ourselves to become compromised, then this virus can get very, very serious, as we all know. So we need some strategies and some solutions. I'm going to go through some today. I was here a while ago, and I did a lot of talking about posture and exercise. I'll just touch on that today, but today's going to be a bit heavier on nutrition. Okay, so the takeaways that I'm going to give you at the end today is all about boosting your immunity and building resilience. Okay, so I love this Chinese expression, Weiji, the expression for crisis. You'll notice that there's 2 symbols there, one meaning danger. We know that there's a danger at the moment, but the other meaning opportunity. And we all have got an opportunity to move forward with optimism and to see this for what it is, a new beginning. I believe that we should think in terms of going on the offense rather than playing the defensive game. I believe we should be reprioritizing our focus in life, and to do that we've got to get our mindset in the right place, because whatever controls our thoughts controls our outcomes. Think about it. Our mindset will actually result in the feelings that we have in any given situation, and then that will generate our thoughts, which generates our actions and behaviors, and there comes our outcomes. And it all starts with mindset. So we want to have a very positive mindset, and we do not want to develop a victim mindset, which I see far, far too often. I believe, actually, I know it's time for a paradigm shift, where rather than being reactive in health, we are proactive. Many, many years ago, I had a choice when I decided to become a doctor. Should I become a medical doctor, or should I do something more natural? And when I realized what chiropractic is, I was immediately sold, because I enjoy my life so much. I realized that chiropractic is about life and what makes us live. And really, this is true healthcare and the actual, the paradigm, the philosophy of life that we live true to is that if we put so much health and vitality into our bodies, there's literally no room for disease. Then I thought, that is for me. And this is what I've been teaching all our thousands of clients for many, many, many years with a great deal of success. Now, this is Singapore, and we are up against statistics that are real, and we can't hide from them. 80% of people in Singapore succumb to unnecessary conditions, whether it be arthritis and diabetes, strokes, heart attacks, cancers, high blood pressure. Recently, we've had to add 2 more, mental health problems and debilitating headaches. That is more than 80% of people, and pretty much nearly all of this is avoidable, right? And it's avoidable just by being proactive, making smart decisions as you go through life. All those things that I've mentioned there increase your susceptibility to viral attack. Obviously, COVID-19 is a virus. The people who are most at risk, obviously, and we all know this, are the elderly, people with underlying health conditions, and then especially people with inadequate respiratory system. Their lungs are compromised. COVID-19 attacks the lungs. It is a disease of the lungs, so we have to look after our breathing. Obviously, we've got a huge problem because we've created such an unnatural life. We are sedentary, we're not moving enough, we are succumbing to this bad posture. You can call it what you like, tech neck or computer posture. It used to be called Silicon Valley Syndrome. It's basically bad posture, but it does make us very, very more vulnerable. So all that said, what I want to do is give you some takeaways. I want you to go ahead and make some notes. I will make all this information available to you. I will send you a PDF of all this information after, if you do so wish. I'm going to keep it simple, and I've got a lot to go through. So I've broken it down to basically 6 main steps for a robust immunity. I'm going to go through mindset and posture and moving more, which is exercise. Quite quickly, we're going to hit on nutrition and hydration much more heavily today. And then we're going to talk about reducing stress and breathing, which are also very important. So the first one, and it's one that is foundational in our approach to life, is our mindset. We do have something as human beings called metacognition, which all the other animals aren't blessed with. Metacognition means that we can think about what we think about. We can direct our minds to where it is needed and to where it can do the most good. We can direct it towards positivity and optimism. We can learn to recognize when we're being pessimistic or we're developing a victim mindset. We can choose happiness. We can choose our company more carefully. If there's people dragging you back or pulling you down or stressing you out, we can move them out of our lives. We can think about what habits we are creating that are creating our future state, our future health. Maybe it's a time for self-reflection. We are all on a journey through life, and I wonder where that journey is taking. I'm pretty happy with where mine is going because obviously I'm a chiropractor, and what I'd love to do is help you think like a chiropractor, because if you do that, you'll be making more smart decisions, and life is likely to be more kind to you in the future. One thing that we know from mindset is that we have to obey the laws of the universe. If we take a little bit of a peek inside the body there, we can see that there's a lot going on. And it looks pretty obvious to me that everything has to be in the right place. And if you think about it, everything inside there is not static, it's in a state of flow. Things are moving, whether it's nerves communicating between the brain and the tissues and organs and back to the brain, whether it's breath moving in and out, maybe it's the blood that's pumping around the 60,000 miles of arteries that you have in your body, 60,000 miles. Everything has to be unimpeded. Everything has to be in the right place. And this is why your posture is so very important. If you look at this lady here, she's slumped forward. You can almost tell that it's compressing the heart and it's compressing the stomach. And this is obviously going to lead to problems with digestion and blood flow. And if it's affecting breathing, it's going to reduce the oxygen to the brain. But remember, if it's reducing breathing, it's also making you more susceptible to COVID. So we must improve our posture so that we have more efficiency in our viscera, our organs. So posture, that's the second thing. Mindset was number one, getting that right, and then posture number two. Your daily habits matter. I'm suggesting that you're sitting at a computer most of your life. You know, I'm a chiropractor. I'm not at a computer most of my life. Thank you very much. I'm pleased about that. But I do spend lots of time doing webinars and writing and what have you. So there you can see me demonstrating a practical solution for if you're working remotely. And some of you are probably working remotely as we speak. You see that I've got my laptop on a stand. I'm using Bluetooth. You see that I've got a cushion that I'm sitting on to bring me up to the right height. And I've got a support for my low back. Simple, simple solutions. Okay. Any questions, please pop it in the chat at the end. Right, so the third thing is we have to move more. We've created this sedentary life. Somebody once suggested to me many years ago that we actually move 200 times less than the people who came preceding us in history. So our predecessors moved 200 times more than we do. And that sounds counterintuitive, but when I thought about it more deeply, I thought, God, it's probably true, because we're not moving. We're sitting all day. So we've absolutely got to move to improve our cardiopulmonary fitness. We've got to have healthy heart and healthy lungs. Lungs for the absorption of oxygen into the blood, and then our heart to pump the blood around those 60,000 miles of arteries that I mentioned. Absolutely vital for disease outcomes. The absolute minimum that I think you want to be looking at is 150 minutes a week of aerobic activity. So that's 5 times a week doing 30 minutes aerobic activity. Now, that sounds like a lot. No, it's not a lot really. Walking counts. So if you walk briskly so that you start to pant a little bit and your heart rate gets up, you're moving into the aerobic zone. That's okay, that'll do it. What else do you need to do? We don't want to stiffen up, we want to stretch daily, make sure we're maintaining full range of motion in all our joints. And then we need to be strengthening ourselves at least a couple of times a week. Okay? Right, now moving on to nutrition. Nutrition is probably the most important thing. I'm going to hit you hard right at the beginning with 4 things that you can implement immediately that will improve your immune system. You can see them right there. It's absolutely a fact that many, many, many people are actually walking around Singapore in a state of subclinical scurvy. People are deficient in vitamin C. It's an antioxidant, which is vital for our health. And it's absolutely vital for modulating the immune system. Low on vitamin C, poorly modulated immune system. Okay. Second one, vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. It's vital for calcium and bones. Now remember, where the white blood cells, which are our immune system, and the red blood cells, which carry the oxygen around our body, remember where they're made. Yes, they're made in the bones. Okay. We've got to have strong bones. We've got to have strong bones. So we've got to have enough vitamin D. Is it a calcium problem? No, we're not deficient. No one in Singapore is deficient of calcium, but many, 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 many people are deficient in vitamin D. I take vitamin C, I take vitamin D, and I also take zinc, which I'm going to move on to in a moment, every single day. Why zinc? because of all the simple things it's easy to take, and it's not expensive, and you can actually get it from simply by eating enough pumpkin seeds, is zinc. It's a potent antiviral agent. It literally inhibits viral replication. Okay, now obviously that's important right now. These are simple things that we can all choose to do, and share this with your families. Now the other thing is, from what I see, or what I know, Singapore is a pretty hot and sweaty place. Many people are dehydrated. You might not think you are because you're drinking lots of coffee or tea. Well, I'm afraid they dehydrate you even more, as does alcohol. We need more clean, pure water. And then you can improve it by warming it up a little bit, add a little bit of vitamin C. And as you drink it, you should be sipping on water all the time. There you go. As you go through the day, if you get any viruses in your throat, it's going to wash it down into the acid in your stomach. Now, obviously, that would be a great strategy. So warm water, vitamin C in the water, sip on it during the day. You're going a long way to stopping those viruses getting into your system. Okay? All helps. Now, in 2010, there was a very famous study which ranked the top causes of disease. Now, it was no surprise to me what came out on top of the chart: nutrition. And simply by improving our nutrition, here lies the greatest opportunity for disease prevention. Okay? This is the greatest opportunity. Remember that Chinese expression, danger but opportunity? By simply being more mindful of what we eat, what we feed to our families, this is the biggest thing that you can do for yourselves. The number one rule of nutrition is eliminate the kryptonite. Watch out for the villains that we continually put into our body. If you think about it, we want to decrease insufficiency. So we want to, if something we're insufficient with, so it might be zinc or vitamin D, we've got to increase that. But then there are things that we shouldn't be having, and that would be toxicity. We've got to try and decrease these so we get our bodies back into balance to give it a chance. So what are these villains? Well, if you look at that list in yellow there: salt, sugar, white flour, white rice, fried foods, sugary drinks, hydrogenated oils, trans fats. I mean, these literally are everywhere in the meals that we shovel into our poor bodies. This creates a war zone, and this is a battle we simply can't win. And this is the number one reason. 80% of people succumb to degenerative conditions. In Singapore, 50% of people get cancer. 80% of people get diabetes. This is not ideal. Okay? Not ideal. We can change it by simply making a shift. When all these products, and that's what they are, products, when they were created, this was the biggest shift in human nutrition since fire was invented, all those hundreds of thousands of years ago. Think about it. These are edible, food-like substances, and our bodies have not been able to evolve fast enough to cope with them. Sugar and flour is in everything. You have to be so careful. So what I'd love you to do, and why not jot down some notes today, why don't we create a set of rules to live by? I have rules for everything. I've got rules for all what I call the pillars of health. And I think that if you have a family at home, you should have some simple rules. So here's a few that you could start to think about. You could choose homegrown food rather than food that's been flown all the way around the world. It's probably going to be more healthy. We could choose to avoid refined oils and trans fats, as I've mentioned. Obviously, we need to limit alcohol and caffeine. And what about allergens? There's lots of people have allergies, and we are susceptible to irritation of various foods. And then we should try and avoid the most toxic foods. So some food that we think is healthy, if we dig a little bit deeper, it's not as healthy as we think. For example, farmed Atlantic salmon has a lot of mercury. You know, we should be trying to think in terms of having clean foods that will not build up toxic waste in our bodies. So we should definitely avoid food that's high in heavy metals. We should try and avoid non-organic eggs and dairy. Non-organic eggs and dairy, because these have been created. There's been an awful lot of pesticides have gone into there, hormones, etc., and that all comes out and goes into our bodies, and it changes the physiology of our own bodies. And then we should avoid the dirty dozen fruits. I'm going to come on to this. These are the fruits and vegetables that are heavily laden in pesticides. I'm going to give you a list of those in one moment. So what should we be choosing? Well, we should be choosing organic, sugar-free, gluten-free, non-GMO. Oh, it's complicated, isn't it? But you know, just start making little changes. Start learning about your body. It's the only one you've got. It needs to be nurtured. Try and choose unprocessed food, whole foods, food made by God, not food made in a plant by scientists. We should try and choose a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables, lots of leafy greens, chlorophyll-rich foods, high in antioxidants, always limiting processing. If you think about all the food-like products that are everywhere you see in the supermarkets, I prefer myself to shop around the outside where the natural products are. As soon as you go into those aisles, you see all the products that have been invented. And who has invented those? They've been invented by people with an itinerary. And what is their itinerary? Yeah, it's making profit, extending shelf life, and it's not sustaining a vibrant, healthy life. Okay? The next thing I believe that we should all do is be aware of our BMI. I've put a chart there. Now, what brings it home to me is that I consider myself pretty healthy and I make all the right decisions. But when I look at my height and my weight, I'm right on the edge of healthy and overweight. I'm just in the green. So I suggest you take a photograph of that, or you can find this easily on the web, but know where you are. Do what it takes to get yourself back into the green, because it's going to make a big, big, big difference. Remember, COVID and illness and diabetes and heart disease, the number one thing that's going to affect this is being overweight. So what about nutrition? Let's have a few very simple rules that we can work to. Try and eat every few hours. Try not to snack. When we eat, we release insulin, and we want a period when we don't have insulin in our bodies all the time, so no snacking. Otherwise, we're going to become insulin resistant, and that's the start of some terrible health problems like diabetes. Try and eat protein-dense foods every meal. Eggs, good organic eggs are a superfood. That's what I would favor for breakfasts. Try and include vegetables in each meal, but not fried. Sauteing lightly in water, steaming. Feel free to add lots of spices and herbs. This is what I personally do. I'm a spicy guy. So what do I do? When I go to a hawker market and first thing they do, they slop a great big pile of white rice on my plate. I say, no, thank you. No rice. Just give me a big bed of steamed vegetables. And then on top of that, I'm going to put some fish and probably some spicy sauce. That's one of my rules. You want to be eating high fiber foods wherever problem. We've got to look after our gut. We've got to look after our natural biome, all the little critters that live inside us. And the healthy ones live on the fiber, the soluble fiber in our foods. So we must eat high fiber foods, keep us healthy. Now, what about carbs? Yeah, we need some carbs, but here's a great rule. Only have a meal heavy in carbs if you're going to exercise. Okay, I have carbs a couple of times a day. I have another rule. I will only eat meat on days I'm going to exercise. Luckily, I exercise most days. So I eat meat most days, but if I'm not exercising, then I'm not having heavy carbs and I'm not eating meat, or I try not to, okay? Simple rules that keep you healthy. And then we must have a good balance of healthy fats. Now, by that, I mean, we want to have more omega-3, so your olive oils, etc., and less omega-6s. Omega-6 is, it tips us towards inflammation, where omega-3 tips us towards anti-inflammation. Okay, now the last rule that I have, and I could think of a few more, is that I try and keep my body in a state that's alkaline. If you become acidic, then this is the breeding ground for disease. Cancer finds it very, very, very hard to grow in a body that's well oxygenated and alkaline. Okay, very, very important. Now, I mentioned the dirty dozen. You can take a picture of that. On the left there, you see a list of 12 vegetables and fruits that have been drenched in preservatives, usually. Now, this is where I believe you should try and have organic. Oh, but organic is expensive. Okay, well, let's think about that. Organic is expensive. So why don't you drop a couple of meals a week in terms of meat? If you eat less meat, then you can move to organic for this dirty dozen. And then you can keep the pennies and pounds balanced, or cents and dollars. Okay, so try and keep things in balance, but we've got to try and prevent toxicity. And these are the dirty dozen that you should really, really, really try and choose organic. Okay, sometimes you just got to work out the solutions yourself. There's a clean 15 there. I'm not going to go through the list. You can take a picture. These are the ones that tend to be lowest in pesticides. And eggplants and cabbage and sweet potatoes, mushrooms. These are really, really healthy things that you can thrive on, but you don't need to choose organic. Okay, little picture there. Obviously, if most of the food that you have comes from that illustration on the left, that's probably not going to finish well for you. I believe that your fridge and your pantry should look like a garden. Lots of color, vibrant with health, and I think you know what I'm saying. All those colors you see on the left, the oranges and the reds and the blues, that's not natural. That is all chemicals, and they're certainly not going to go into my children. Okay, so any questions about nutrition, pop it into the chat. We can talk about it at the end. So another thing that we must be aware of is that as this pandemic has spread throughout the world, it's had enormous adverse effects on our health. The proportion of people who've experienced terrible, terrible stress during these times is approaching 100%. And it's affected people's sleep, their digestion, their immune system. It depresses their immune system. Think about it. If you're stressed, your immune system is being depressed. That's not good. We have got to have solutions. We've got to know what to do. Simple things we can bring into our lives to reduce stress. So here's a few. I do pretty much all of these at some stage. Yeah, I do a little bit of meditation. I do yoga, definitely. Yoga is tremendous. I exercise. I don't do so much massage because I have chiropractic care. Tension doesn't seem to build up in my body because of the chiropractic care that I have. We should have more connection with our loved ones. We're meant to be with our loved ones. It helps reducing stress. Unfortunately, we've got a world where we become detached from our loved ones. And that's a great, great shame. And it increases the cortisol levels in our blood. And that as we know, is very, very unhealthy. And we must learn how to sleep better. You'll notice that sleep is shown on this list of ways of reducing stress, but sleep is actually so important that it should probably have its own category. Sleep is when our body repairs. It's when we do all our growth. It's when all our cortical connections are made. So if we're not sleeping, we're not repairing, our immune system is being affected, our mind slows down, it doesn't put us in a good state of mind. Okay? And remember, it's all about getting our mindset right. Anti-stress techniques to improve and create a positive mental attitude will have amazing effects on us. It'll give us a stronger immune system. It'll reduce cardiovascular disease, and it'll do this predictably. The body is predictable in how it behaves. Just stop what's bad, stop what's good, and then embrace the changes and celebrate the changes as they come away. If you want to slow down aging and be more mobile and decrease the chances of dementia and cognitive decline, these are very, very important things that we should be addressing as we go through life. If you want to increase lifespan, now lifespan is one of my big subjects at the moment. I've been writing articles, I've been researching all about how we increase our lifespan. And you know how we do it? We do it by increasing our health span. So we concentrate on staying healthy for as long as possible. The byproduct of that, the net result, will be an increased lifespan. And it will also save us an enormous amount of money later on, because we won't have to throw money at dealing with disease. I think you know what I mean. Okay, right, my sixth step in improving our immune system and making us more resilient to COVID in this, as we go into this new reality, is breathing. Try and improve the efficiency of breathing. So let's go back to our default position I taught you at the beginning. Remember where it starts? Sternum. Lift your sternum, pull your head back, open your shoulders. Oh, maybe roll those shoulders already, you're feeling good. Now you can start taking some big breaths, okay? You go into good posture, you have more room for those breaths. Now, let's think about where that breath is coming from. If we lift our chest with those muscles, then it's opening up our chest and we are breathing. But if we want to be really good at breathing and really get all the benefits, we want to use our diaphragm. So we want to breathe deeply down into our stomach. So as you take a big breath, push your stomach out, direct your breathing low, so that as you breathe, take a big breath, it's going down. So your shoulders aren't coming up, your chest, it's going down into your stomach. Now this is healthy breathing. What it's doing, it's actually stimulating the nerves that control your diaphragm. Now, why is this so healthy? Because this is where your parasympathetic nervous system lives. Okay, your diaphragm, stimulate your diaphragm, you're stimulating that part of your immune system that turns off stress and turns on regeneration, healing, all the good things. Okay, so that's something that we should do on a daily basis. You want to go for lunch? Take 10 deep breaths in good posture, and you'll switch your body into a state whereby it's going to be able to digest much better. This is pretty cool stuff, I believe. So there you go. There's the diaphragm. Breathe down. You can see the diaphragm moving up and down. It's pulling the lungs down like a set of bellows. Okay? Think of it like, you see the mushroom, the red mushroom on the right? There's a big muscle that pulls down. And that's the one that we want to be stimulating. for healthy breathing. Okay? Okay, I've flown through a lot of stuff there. In summary, my prescription for a strong immune system, try and stick to whole, real food. Stay away from food that's been made in a lab by mankind. Real food made by God. You want to make sure you have enough vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc, okay? We've got to look after our gut. Get out in the sun so we do get enough of that vitamin D. Go to bed an hour earlier. Find a solution. Remember, sleep is when we build and when we repair. Also very, very important for our kids, because obviously they're growing and they're learning. If you want them to be smart, they've got to get their sleep. Whatever de-stressing solutions that you can think of, start bringing them into your life, whatever it is. So there's plenty of apps on your phone that you can use as well. And then we need to improve our cardiopulmonary fitness with exercise, and always improve posture, posture, posture. It is not possible to be healthy if you have bad posture. Okay, I've gone through an awful lot of stuff there. I'm now going to have a look at the chat. I'm going to put up a QR code. If anybody out there feels the need that they may need to get their posture checked or spine checked, or maybe a loved one is getting some pain, or what we've done there, we've put up a QR code that's going to direct you to a landing site on our website to enable you to come in to get checked in one of our clinics for only $45, normally 170. That would be a full first visit, including treatment and recommendations. Okay. Please use me as a resource. I am here for the community to help. Okay, you've got my email address there. Don't be shy. I am here to engage. So I'm just going to have a look at the chat, see if there's anything there for me. Not seeing anything at the moment. If there's anything there, please jump on. And if not, I'm gonna hand you back. So thank you very much. I'm indebted to you for staying with me and for listening to all that information. Try and make some healthy rules to live by. At any one time, we're creating habits, good habits or bad habits. To be healthy in the future, we want to have more good habits than bad habits. Okay, so thank you very much. I'll hand you back.